Welcome, dreamer. Tonight, you journey once more to the land where ancient mountains kiss the sky, where dragons once flew like living stars, and where magic lingers in the hush between heartbeats. This is Alagaësia, a realm of wonder, war, and whispered histories. In this soft, unhurried telling, we will wander through the stories of its oldest peoples, the proud and noble dragons, the timeless elves of Duveldenvarden, the stone-hearted dwarves of the Beor Mountains, the misunderstood Urgals and the dark echoes of the Shades, and finally, the humans, brief, bright, and bold. This is not a tale of battle, but of memory, not of endings, but of beginnings, a gentle tapestry of lore to calm your mind and cradle your thoughts as you drift toward dreams. So breathe deeply, let the stillness settle, and allow these ancient voices to rise like mist from the pages of time. The story begins now. Part 1. The Dragons of Alagaësia. Close your eyes, if you haven't already. Let the world around you fade, like a candle gently snuffed. Let your breath slow, deep and quiet, as if you too were sleeping beneath the roots of the earth. We begin, not with kings or heroes, but with a whisper, the first breath of fire in the cold silence before history. Long, long ago, before the first stone towers, before even the dwarves had shaped the bones of the Beor Mountains, the dragons came into being. No one, not even the oldest elf or most ancient spellbook, knows for certain from where they came. Some say they were born of the land itself, as natural and inevitable as mountains and storms. Others believe they were crafted by raw magic, formed by wild spells that danced across the empty sky, igniting stone and wind and flame into living, thinking form. What is known is this: the dragons were there at the beginning. They did not arrive. They were. Great wings beat above forests untouched by axe, above rivers that still knew their true names. Their scales shimmered with colours no painter could capture. Blue as moonlit ice, gold as autumn flame, red as the bleeding edge of sunset. But they were not simply beasts of scale and fire. They were minds, vast and knowing. They spoke not with words, but with thought, with presence, with a hum of ancient power that wrapped around the world like a lullaby sung to sleeping stars. They lived in the highest places, the jagged peaks of the spine, the smouldering mouths of long dead volcanoes, and the drifting islands of cloud that only they could reach. There they watched, they flew, they dreamed, and though they ruled the skies, they did not rule the earth. Not yet. For many centuries, the dragons lived apart from the younger races. They did not build cities or forge swords. They did not till fields or carve roads. Their memory was their legacy, long and slow, like roots winding deep through time. And within their hearts, where blood beat like molten gold, there pulsed a quiet, living magic. It was not the studied sorcery of elves, nor the harsh spellwork of men. It was a primal force, as old as the stars, as deep as the sea. Their magic wove itself into the land, into the language of true names, into the very air of Alagaësia. It is said the land itself learned from dragons how to burn, how to soar, how to endure. Even in those earliest days, some dragons lived alone, content in solitude. Others formed great flocks, wingtip to wingtip in the sky, their voices joined in song only they could hear. And some, it is whispered, slept for centuries beneath the earth, coiled like dreams in crystal caves, waiting for a time when the world would need them. That time would come. But not yet. The world turned, as it always does. Winds shifted, forests grew and withered, and then, from the east and the west, from deep beneath the mountains and across the sea, came others, elves, humans, dwarves. The dragons watched, and for a time they remained silent. But change, like fire, cannot be ignored forever. Drift deeper now. The fire has softened to glowing embers. The wind beyond the mountains has stilled. Let your breath slow to match the rhythm of wings in flight, steady and wide. We now turn our thoughts not to what dragons are, but how they feel, how they dream and remember and know the world. To speak of a dragon's mind is to gaze into a vast and starlit cavern where time moves differently and memory is carved into every wall. A dragon's thoughts are not hurried. They are not sharp or fleeting, like a man's fear or a bird's alarm. No, dragons think as mountains grow, slow, deliberate, and endless. Their minds are wide, so wide in fact that they can feel more than one thing at once. Sorrow and pride, joy and caution, rage and patience. All may live together, side by side, with no contradiction. A dragon's anger is not like a human's, hot and reckless. It is deep, measured, a warning rumble in the bones of the earth. And their joy, oh, their joy is something radiant. It is said that when a dragon feels happiness, the air around them sparkles faintly with heat and gold, and flowers bloom faster in their wake. They perceive in layers. What an elf might see as a forest, a dragon might sense as a lattice of time and life, colour and song, each tree holding echoes of centuries, each leaf humming a quiet note of light. Where a human sees a river, a dragon may feel the cold memory of snowmelt in the north and the silent promise of the sea to the south. They see through magic as much as through eyes. It is not a separate force to them. Magic is as much a part of their being as muscle or scale. They breathe it, they are it. Some say dragons dream in magic, that their thoughts leave ripples in the fabric of spells, tiny flares of meaning that drift across the land like dandelion seeds. And dragons remember, always, perfectly. A dragon may call back a single scent from 400 years ago, the smell of rain on stone when they first tasted flight. They may recall the weight of a rider's hand, long since turned to dust, and speak their name with the same affection as the day they first bonded. Every moment is carried with them, nested and folded within their vast minds like a library carved from light. This can be both gift and burden, for a dragon forgets nothing, not betrayal, nor grief, nor the ache of loss. They bear the memory of every battle, every death, every fledgling that did not rise. And yet they are not crushed by this weight. They do not wallow or mourn as humans do. They carry, with grace and with silence. It is why, when you gaze into a dragon's eye, truly gaze, you may see there not just fire, but something more ancient than flame. Patience, kindness, sorrow, wonder. They are not beasts, they are not monsters. They are keepers of knowledge, of time, of balance. To hear a dragon speak, truly speak mind to mind, is to feel the world slow. Their voices do not shout or command. They rumble like thunder at a distance. They warm like sunlight after storm. Their thoughts are shaped not in words, but in images, feelings, intention. More felt than heard, more known than told. They do not waste language on lies. They do not need to. In this way, dragons are not only creatures of power, but of peace. They can be fearsome, yes, and they have burned armies when roused, but their truest strength lies in stillness, in knowing, in waiting. They are fire with a soul, sky with memory. And it is this vast, patient intelligence, this blend of magic and memory, that made possible the great bond that would shape the world. A bond between dragon and rider. Let your breath slow again, like the hush that falls after the final note of a lullaby. You are drifting now through memory, floating on quiet winds that carry us forward in time, to a moment when the dragons, for all their wisdom and solitude, opened their hearts to another race, and everything changed. The bond between dragon and rider was not born from strategy or conquest. It began with tragedy and hope. In the earliest days of the elves' arrival in Alagaësia, they were young and proud, curious explorers of magic and mystery, but their paths crossed too closely with the dragons, and misunderstandings sparked conflict. What began as isolated skirmishes soon blossomed into something far more terrible, a war. And in that war, both dragons and elves lost what they could never regain: children, kin, peace. It was a dark and aching time. But from the ashes of that grief, something new emerged. One elf, a spellweaver named Eragon, not the one you know, but the first to bear the name, saw beyond the wounds and rage. He offered peace to the dragons, and more than that, he offered trust. The dragons, who had long kept their distance from all other thinking creatures, listened, slowly, warily, and then they answered, not with words, but with magic. Together, the dragons and the elves forged a pact, a binding agreement not merely of treaty, but of soul. With the weaving of this ancient spell, the dragons gave elves, and later humans, the chance to form a sacred bond with a dragon hatchling. The egg would remain dormant until it sensed the mind of its destined rider, one with whom it could truly merge. And when that bond is formed, when the dragon hatches, it is not just life that begins, it is union. The rider and dragon are not simply partners, they are bound at the deepest level, thoughts shared, emotions echoed, fates entwined. What one feels, the other senses. Joy flows between them like light through glass. Pain is halved and sometimes doubled. Words are rarely needed. A glance, a thought, a flicker of breath. These are enough. It is not domination. It is not ownership. It is love of the oldest and purest kind, chosen, unbreakable, equal. Through the bond, the rider is gifted long life, heightened senses, and access to the dragon's understanding of magic. And the dragon, in turn, gains a companion, someone to share the sky, the silence, and the song of battle. They grow together, their spirits winding around each other like vines around stone, firm and graceful. And yet, it is not always easy. To be bound so closely to another being is to carry their burdens, their fears, their wounds. A rider must be strong not just in body, but in heart. For a careless thought can wound, and a moment of doubt can shatter trust. The dragon too must be wise, for they are the elder in the bond, even when newly hatched, their souls already rich with ancestral fire. And still, the bond endures, radiant and sacred. This partnership became the foundation of the dragon riders, who for centuries kept balance across the land. They were guardians, explorers, peacemakers, warriors. Their presence united elves, humans, and dragons in an age of glory remembered in whispers and old songs. But even bonds so deep are not immune to darkness. Pride, ambition, betrayal, these too crept in. And when the riders fell, they fell hard. The pain of broken bonds echoed for miles. Dragons died in flame, riders in silence. It is said the air itself wept when the last towers of the riders crumbled. And yet, not all bonds were lost, not all eggs shattered. In time, the pact will be honored again, and a blue egg would hatch for a farm boy in a small, forgotten valley, and the world would change once more. Let the quiet deepen. Let the stillness stretch out, soft and slow, like dusk settling over the mountains. Even in a world shaped by magic and wonder, all things must end. And so it is, even for the mightiest of creatures, the dragons, born of fire and sky. Their deaths are not sudden things, not forgotten or discarded like the falling of leaves. A dragon's passing is more like the setting of a star, a hush that moves across the world, felt in wind, in water, in bone. Dragons do not fear death. They understand it. They carry with them the memories of centuries, the rise and fall of nations, the fleeting warmth of mortal lives. They know that their stories are woven into the fabric of the world, and when the time comes, they go not with resistance, but with grace. And yet, when a dragon dies, it is never a quiet grief. For those bound to them, riders, kin and kin in spirit, the pain is deep and searing. The bond, once shared, is torn asunder. To lose a dragon is to lose a part of the soul. Some riders do not survive it. Others wander, broken and silent, unable to fill the hollow left behind. But a dragon does not vanish completely. Within each dragon lies their Eldunari, the heart of hearts, a perfect gem formed inside their chest, not made by hand or spell, but grown with time and truth. While a dragon lives, the Eldunari is hidden, protected, but should they choose, a dragon may reveal it, remove it, and gift it to another. In doing so, they offer their very essence, their mind, their memories, their will. Even in death, the Eldunari may remain. These glowing crystals, scattered across the ages, are not simply relics. They are the dragons, their thoughts still alive, their wisdom still present. One can speak to them, feel their presence, be guided or challenged by their ancient minds. In this way, dragons can continue to teach, to guard, to shape the course of destiny long after their bodies have turned to ash. But it is a lonely fate, to exist as thought alone, unanchored from the skies they once ruled. It is a solemn life, full of silence. Some dragons welcome it, seeing in it a form of legacy. Others slumber in their gems, dreaming of fire and flight. And some rage against their stillness, whispering bitter truth to those who dare listen. There are stories of riders who have carried Eldunari across continents, speaking with them in the long dark of night, of chambers deep beneath the earth where hundreds of dragon hearts pulse with quiet song, waiting for a world that remembers how to listen. The death of a dragon is also felt by the land. It is said that when Glader fell, the air turned cold for miles, as if the sun itself mourned. When Shuriken perished, the ground quaked beneath the towers of Urubaen. Nature responds to these losses, not with thunder or flame, but with reverence. A still forest, a silent moon, a ripple in the wind that carries sorrow like a lullaby. And yet, from each ending something lingers. A dragon's death is not destruction, it is transformation. Their fire returns to the world, their magic seeps into the stones. Their memory lives in Eldunari, in stories, in the bloodlines of riders yet to be born. Even in the quietest corners of Alagaësia, their presence remains, like heat left in a hearth, or the scent of rain after the storm has passed. So sleep now, if you wish. Let the ache of endings drift away, softened by the knowledge that nothing truly vanishes. Dragons die, yes, but they do not disappear. They remain in mind, in heart, in the sky above our dreams. We have wandered far now, dear listener, across memory and sky, through thoughts vast as valleys and deeper than time. Let us rest, here in the quiet glow of legend, where names once spoken in battle are now whispered as lullabies. For though dragons are ancient and many, a few among them have become more than story. They are remembered not only for what they were, but for what they gave, what they meant. These are their names. Let them be spoken gently, like sacred songs beneath the stars. Saphira Brightscales was the last hope of an age thought lost. Blue as the deepest summer sky, proud and fierce yet full of warmth, Saphira was the first dragon to hatch in generations. She chose a boy named Eragon, a farmhand with no title, no sword, no knowledge of the world he would soon change. Together they rose, not as conquerors, but as companions. In Saphira, Eragon found strength. In Eragon, Saphira found purpose. Her voice was clear and noble, her heart vast and tender. She fought not for glory, but for balance, for justice. She was born in a time of fear. She lived to bring back hope. And when the war was over, when the last enemy fell, it was Saphira who helped lay the foundation for what would come next. A new rider's order, a new beginning. She is remembered not just for her battles, but for her loyalty, her wisdom, and the thunder-soft beat of her wings above the land. Glider the Golden was old as memory, steady as the sun. Glider was bonded to Oromis, the wise one of the riders. Together they lived long and well, until the fall of their order. When Oromis was wounded beyond healing, they hid, not in fear, but in patience. Glider, golden as morning, was solemn and deep. His thoughts carried the weight of centuries. Even after Oromis died, Glider lived on through his Eldunari, gifting Eragon and Saphira his knowledge and strength. He did not rage, he did not weep, he endured. And in his stillness there was power, the kind that does not shout, but shines. To this day, his Eldunari rests in a hidden place, pulsing quietly, waiting for the next rider who will listen. Thorn, the red dragon, the broken, the brave. Born not into peace but into chains, Thorn hatched for Murta under the shadow of Galbatorix's cruelty. His life was shaped by command, by pain, by control. Yet within him burned the spark of something unbroken. Thorn fought not because he wished to, but because he had no choice. And in that struggle he grew. Fast, too fast, his body stretched by forced spells and unnatural haste. But his soul remained his own. When at last he and Murta broke free, it was not with vengeance, but with sorrow. They fled, wounded and weary, seeking quiet and healing in the far reaches of the world. Thorn is remembered not for what he was made to do, but for how he endured, for the silent dignity of surviving. Shrieken, black as night and twisted by power. Once he was a hatchling full of potential, but Galbatorix, driven mad by grief and ambition, stole him and bent him to his will. Shrieken grew vast and terrible, not by his own choosing, but by dark enchantments. His mind, once bright, was smothered beneath layers of control. He became a symbol of the tyrant's reign, a creature of horror, forced to wear the name of villainy. But even in Shrieken, there was tragedy. He was not evil. He was stolen, shaped into something he never chose to be. And when he fell, the silence was not triumphant, but mournful. He is a reminder of what power can take and what it cannot truly own. Shrieken, black as night and twisted by power. Once he was a hatchling full of potential, but Galbatorix, driven mad by grief and ambition, stole him and bent him to his will. Shrieken grew vast and terrible, not by his own choosing, but by dark enchantments. His mind, once bright, was smothered beneath layers of control. He became a symbol of the tyrant's reign, a creature of horror, forced to wear the name of villainy. But even in Shrieken, there was tragedy. He was not evil. He was stolen, shaped into something he never chose to be. And when he fell, the silence was not triumphant, but mournful. He is a reminder of what power can take and what it cannot truly own. So now, dear listener, let the dragons rest. Let their wings fold beneath starlight. Let their voices fade into your dreams, warm and watchful. You have wandered with them, through time, through sorrow, through flight. And though your eyes may now close, their stories remain, quiet, glowing, waiting, like the last ember in the fire, like the heart of a dragon sleeping. Part 2. The Elves of Alagaësia. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving stream. The dragons have taken their rest, and now we walk beneath trees older than memory, to a place where music and moonlight linger on every branch. Before cities, before spells, before even the pact with dragons, the elves came. They arrived in Alagaësia from across the sea, on ships carved of pale wood, sails full of starlight and song. Their homeland is lost to time, spoken of only in whispers. A place of high towers and green hills, now faded like a dream upon waking. They brought with them language, art, and the quiet grace of long lives. The elves were not conquerors. They came not to rule but to listen. They stepped lightly upon the earth. They spoke with trees and streams. They did not build with stone but grew their homes with gentle spells and patient hands. Even the animals seemed to pause when an elf passed, as if recognizing something older than fear. It was not long before they found dragons, and through struggle they formed the bond that would define both races for centuries. But the elves were more than riders. They were singers of the land, keepers of deep magic, and masters of the spoken word. Long-lived yet never hurried, they measure their lives not in days or seasons, but in moments. A sunrise shared, a poem finished, a song passed from voice to voice under the stars. They do not forget, but neither do they cling. To be an elf is to flow, with wind, with water, with time itself. They are not perfect. Pride even in them has left its mark. But beneath the elegance and sharp mind is a spirit that seeks harmony, not as conquest, but as art. They are the first to listen, the last to leave, and always they remember. Let the wind hush again. Imagine trees swaying gently above you, their leaves whispering secrets only the stars understand. You are deep in Duveldenvarden now, the forest that breathes with magic, where time seems to slow, and the air smells always of rain and song. Here the elves live, not in castles or cities of stone, but in harmony with the forest. Their homes are shaped from living trees, coaxed into graceful forms with quiet magic. No axe cuts here, no wall fights the roots. The land is not conquered, but shared. To the elves, beauty is not a luxury. It is a way of life. A language they speak fluently, with every gesture, every crafted object, every carefully chosen word. Their days are filled with art, music, poetry, painting, and dance, not for applause or profit, but for balance, for the joy of creation itself. Every elf sings, and every song is unique, a reflection of their soul and season of life. They compose melodies to greet the sun, to honor a fallen leaf, to guide young minds into sleep. Even their speech is shaped by art. They use the ancient language, not just for spellcasting, but as a way of being. To speak it is to speak truth, for in that tongue lies cannot be formed. It is the language of power, of promise, of precision, and it is woven into every part of elven life. The elves live long, centuries, sometimes more, but they do not squander that time. They master crafts over decades, study nature as both students and stewards, and train in both combat and contemplation. A child may spend 50 years learning only the flute before touching a bowstring. To them, mastery is a meditation. They eat little meat, preferring fruit, grains, and herbs grown with care. They do not wear metal armor, but enchantments woven into silk and bark. Their weapons are few, their battles rare. But when they fight, it is with the grace of the wind and the precision of falling rain. They celebrate the blood oath celebration each spring, a renewal of their pact with the dragons and with the balance of magic. The forest glows with lanterns and laughter. Even the oldest among them dance. They revere nature, but not blindly. They tend to it, shape it, protect it, guardians of the old balance. But for all their gentleness, the elves are not soft. Their minds are keen, their wills are strong, and behind their quiet eyes lie centuries of experience, both light and shadow. They are not immortal, but they live as if time itself were their companion, never rushed, never wasted. So let us rest here in their forest just a little longer. Feel the moss beneath your feet. Hear the far-off notes of a song drifting through the trees. You are safe. You are welcome. And the night is still young. The stars are higher now, scattered across a velvet sky. You are safe in the hush of night, wandering through memory and myth. Let us now walk among the hidden cities of the elves, not places of stone and smoke, but of light and leaf, built in harmony with the forest breath. To speak of their cities is to speak of stillness, of elegance, of living architecture shaped by time and magic. There are no walls here, no iron gates, only trees, vast and ancient, their trunks thick as towers, their branches home to staircases of woven vine and silken bridges that sway gently in the breeze. The most revered of these places is Erlesmere, nestled deep within Duveldenvarden. To find it is not easy, for the forest conceals it willingly. It cannot be found on a map. Only those welcomed by the trees themselves may approach. Erlesmere is not built on the land, but with it. The trees are shaped, not cut, into elegant homes with high balconies open to the stars. Ivy grows like drapery, flowers bloom along carved wooden eaves, and lanterns of glowing crystal float gently in the air. Light moves softly through this place, as if unwilling to disturb its peace. At its center stands Tjaldarí Hall, a palace grown from living wood, its walls etched with swirling patterns older than any song. Here, the queen of the elves resides, not in a throne room of gold, but a chamber filled with water and light, music ever playing from unseen corners. And nearby, carved into the trunk of a mighty tree, lies the Manoa tree, ancient and aware. Its roots reach deep into the earth, its branches touch the clouds. It watches over the elves, wise and quiet. a living memory of all that has come before. Some say it listens to those who pass beneath. Others claim it dreams. Farther north, in the less travelled glades, rest smaller settlements, places with no name spoken outside the elven tongue, villages where light filters through canopies in patterns like stained glass, where birds roost beside spellcasters, and where rivers sing in harmony with flutes carved from moonwood. These cities are not loud. They do not blaze with flame or echo with footsteps. They hum, they breathe. To walk their pathways is to feel time stretch out like a ribbon of light. Even the air is different here, sweet with blossoms and old magic, crisp as mountain snow in spring. Visitors, though rare, are treated with dignity and gentleness, led by soft-spoken guides through walkways high above the ground, through libraries grown into trees and temples open to the wind, and always music follows. The elves do not build for power, they build for continuity, homes meant to last not just centuries, but epochs. Every detail is considered. Every arch, every window, every flowering vine is placed with intention and grace. There is no waste, no clutter, no noise, only harmony. And when you sleep in the cities of the elves, the forest sings to you, not in words, but in wind, in leaf, in light. Now the forest is hushed, wrapped in velvet shadow. A breeze drifts gently through the trees, carrying the faint scent of night blossoms and old spellwork. You lie beneath a canopy of stars as we turn our thoughts to the magic of the elves, the quiet current flowing beneath all they do. To speak of elven magic is to speak of intention, for theirs is not the frantic spellcraft of desperation or war. It is the steady, mindful weaving of will into the world, slow, deliberate, and endlessly refined. Their magic is drawn from the ancient language, a tongue of truth, unbending and absolute. In this language, to name a thing is to know it. To speak falsely is to shatter the spell. And so, the elves speak carefully, not only in casting, but in daily life. For them, words are sacred, each one chosen as if it might awaken the very wind. They do not cast spells. They shape them, like music, like sculpture, like dance. Magic is taught slowly, with reverence. Young elves spend years, even decades, learning the nature of words, of trees, of fire and wind, before ever daring to speak a spell aloud. They meditate beneath waterfalls, listening for the true name of water. They walk barefoot across forest floors, learning the pulse of stone and root. They do not take shortcuts. They do not seek control. They seek understanding. For the elves, magic is not power to be wielded. It is a partnership with the world itself. Their spells are often invisible, a whisper to encourage vines to bloom, a breath to still a storm, a song to ease the pain of a dying bird. Their enchantments blend with life unnoticed by most, like dew on grass or warmth from the sun. And yet, their power runs deep. In battle, they are terrifyingly precise. An elf may speak a single word and shatter a sword, silence a foe, or bend light around their form. But they do not boast of this. They do not hunger for dominance. Such things are beneath them. There are those among them who have studied deeper still, the tree singers, who can coax living wood into towers and bridges with voice alone, the spell weavers, who inscribe silent enchantments into clothing, instruments, and even food, and the mind callers, gifted in the ancient art of thought speaking, whose minds can touch others with peace or warning from miles away. Their most powerful magic, however, is not born from strength, but from harmony. when an elf sings to a tree and the tree opens like a flower, when a blade is grown from root and vine, hard as steel and light as silk, when they speak the name of wind and it gathers, soft and guiding. This is the essence of elven magic, not control, but communion. Even their rituals reflect this. During the spring's blood oath celebration, they perform spells not for protection, but for balance, joining voice to voice in ancient songs that rebind their pact with dragons, magic, and nature. It is a time of joy, of renewal. The forest itself glows brighter afterward, as if sighing with contentment. But there is another side to their magic, one hidden, rarely spoken of. Names, the true names of all things, and of oneself, hold immense power. To know your true name is to hold your soul in your own hands. Many elves seek this knowledge. Fewer find it, and of those who do, most never speak it aloud. For in the ancient language, names shape reality, and to speak your own is to become truly yourself, unhidden, unbound. This, perhaps, is the heart of elven magic. Not might, not command, but truth, whispered gently like wind through leaves. And now, as you drift between sleep and dreaming, imagine their spells floating through the air, silent, invisible, kind, like lanterns of light guiding you home. Sleep now lies just beneath your breath, like a feather resting on still water. And as your thoughts grow soft and slow, let us visit the tales of those elves whose names shimmer like constellations in the memory of Alagaësia. They were not loud, they did not conquer, but still they changed the world through wisdom, through will, and through the quiet brilliance of their presence. In the heart of Duveldenvarden, beneath the silver-boughed trees of Elismera, ruled Queen Islanzadi, daughter of a long line of elven monarchs. Tall, proud, and luminous as starlight on snow, she led her people through times of shadow and renewal. Though a warrior in her youth, she wore no crown of iron, spoke no threats. Her power was presence, cool, precise, endlessly composed. And though centuries weighed upon her shoulders, she stood unbowed before tyranny, lending her strength to the riders when darkness stirred once more. She was mother to Arya, and in that bond of blood we glimpse her fire, not of wrath, but of unyielding hope. She opened the forest to the humans and dwarves when the tide of battle crested, and when her end came, it was with honor, sword in hand, amid the roar of dragon fire and the fall of kings. Yet even now, the wind in Elismera seems to whisper her name. And what of Arya, the green-eyed diplomat, warrior, scholar, and, in time, queen? She who walked between worlds, a bridge between races, born of the forest, yet forged in fire. She bore Saphira's egg across continents, battled shade and spellcaster alike, and stood at Eragon's side through every trial. Her magic was precise, her swordplay elegant, but it was her poise, her tireless discipline, that made her unforgettable. She sang to the Manoa tree. She mourned alone. She led without asking to lead. And when the last battle was done and the crown lay empty, it was Arya who rose to wear it, not in glory, but in duty. She became rider to Firnan, emerald-scaled and wild, the last dragon to hatch in known lands. Together, they soared into a future uncharted, guardians of both forest and flame. Far older than memory, deep in the heart of Duveldenvarden, lived Runun, master of the forge, weaver of metal and spell. She was the one who crafted the rider's blades, each unique, each bound to its bearer. With silver hair tied back and eyes sharp as steel, she worked not with hammer alone, but with the ancient language sung into molten ore. She vowed never again to forge a sword until Eragon came, and through cunning and old magic, she fulfilled her promise without breaking it, guiding his hands to shape Brazinger, the blue blade of fire and purpose. She lives still, it is said, shaping not weapons, but quiet thoughts, her legacy folded into every blade that hums with truth. Whispers also speak of Tenga, once a scholar of immense learning, whose mind became a storm of too many truths. He wandered the wild places of the world, scribbling runes and chasing echoes of ancient knowledge long forgotten. He was brilliant, yes, a collector of secrets, but also fractured, cracked beneath the weight of his own endless questions. Some say he once served Queen Islanzadi. Others say he served no one, not even himself. He left behind scrolls of riddles and theories, spells half-formed, ideas barely tamed, and vanished like mist into the forests. Even now some seekers follow his path, hoping to decipher the things he left behind. But perhaps Tenga was not meant to be understood, only remembered. And there are others, unnamed elves, whose stories drift like pollen through the trees, the poets who etched verse into leaves that glow in moonlight, the warriors who stood unseen in shadowed glens to protect the young riders, the teachers who taught dragons to speak, and the healers who wove sleep into spells, the lovers who vanished together into the deeper woods, becoming myth, the children who sang first to the Manoa tree. These elves did not seek renown, yet their echoes remain, in spellbooks, in song, in the laughter of the wind through the high branches. They are not gone, not truly, for nothing spoken in the ancient language is ever truly lost. And now, dear listener, let your thoughts settle, like leaves floating in still water. The elves, ancient, gentle, eternal, have shared their stories. They wait in the quiet places of the world, watching, listening, singing to the stars. Sleep now in their forest. The night is long, the magic is old, and the dream has only just begun. Part 3. The Dwarves of Alagaësia. Beneath the roots of the Beor Mountains, where the air grows cool and the world narrows into cavern and corridor, the dwarves have lived for longer than most remember. Their cities are carved into the stone, not built, vast and echoing, lit by glowing crystal, their halls supported by towering columns etched with runes older than dragons. And within these halls, the dwarves do not live as one people, but as many, for their society is divided into clans, 13 in all, each with its own lineage, traditions, and subtle pride. They are not fractured, no, but woven like threads into a great tapestry, distinct yet bound together. These clans form the backbone of dwarven life, not just family, but identity, purpose, and belonging. Each child is born into a clan, and it is to that clan they pledge their loyalty, their craft, their dreams. Some clans are known for their warriors, others for their smiths, their scholars, their miners, or their stonemasons. Some dwell close to the mountain surface, working in light and air. Others live deep within the heart rock, where few from above ever tread. Among them is the Grimsporith clan, to which Auric, later king, belonged. Stalwart, steady, and known for their honourable craft, They hold great influence in the ruling of the dwarves. Then there are clans more secretive, such as the Az-Swelden Rak-Anhuin, who dwell far from the central halls and guard their customs fiercely. They are proud, sometimes rigid, and not always in agreement with their kin. Yet they are still dwarves, tied by blood and stone to their people. Each clan maintains its own traditions, stories, and symbols. Their armor is etched with unique runes. Their food, their songs, their dialects, all carry the flavor of deep-rooted heritage. And in gatherings of the full Dwarven Council, one can hear the distinct cadences of each house as they speak in turn, like separate notes in a long, slow chord. But make no mistake, despite their differences, when danger comes, the clans close ranks like the doors of a fortress, for their bond is not just one of custom, but of stone, carved by time and pressure into something enduring. To be a dwarf is to know where you come from, to know the name of your clan, the tools of your trade, the strength of your ancestors' hands, and to walk the halls of their mountain cities with banners of every clan fluttering overhead, is to feel not only the pride of a people, but the quiet power of unity in diversity. So rest now beneath the earth, where the stone is warm and the clans sing their histories in low melodic tones. The fires burn gently, the anvils rest, and the halls echo with peace. In the deepest chambers of Trondheim, past the wide echoing halls and stone-cut bridges, there lies a place quieter than any forge, older than any crown, the heart of Dwarven faith. For while the dwarves are known for their steel, their stubbornness, and their craft, there is something deeper still that shapes them, a quiet devotion, a religion carved not in parchment, but in granite, enduring, unmoving, like the mountain itself. The dwarves worship a pantheon of deities, their names chiseled into sacred stone and whispered in solemn blessing. At the center of it all stands Helsvog, the god of stone, the shaper of dwarves. It is said that Helsvog, in the beginning, shaped the first dwarves from the bones of the mountains, from iron and quartz, from obsidian and ore. He gave them strength, resilience, and the spark of craftsmanship, breathing life into the stone of the earth. To the dwarves, Helsvog is not distant. He is present in all stone. When their chisels ring against the rock, they believe they are speaking to him. When they build in his image. To dig a new tunnel is not merely engineering, it is worship. And yet Helsvog does not rule alone. The dwarves revere other gods as well, Kilf and Quen, the brothers of fire and water, whose eternal struggle shapes the world, Sindri, the trickster god of luck, tunnels and secrets, Uru, guardian of the dead, whose shadowed realm lies in the deepest caverns, and Mordain, the silent goddess of fate and deep time, who speaks only through the echoes in the stone. Their pantheon is not one of light and fire, but of balance, earth, water, flame, and time, all given form, all venerated. Temples are carved, not built, etched into cavern walls with painstaking care. Flickering lamps burn softly on altars of polished basalt, and offerings of polished gems and fine metalwork are laid at the feet of ancient statues. Prayers are not shouted, they are hummed, low and melodic, sometimes wordless. The dwarves believe that tone, rhythm, and vibration carry more to the gods than words alone. There are no wild festivals in dwarven religion, no dances under stars. Instead, there are stone vigils, solemn gatherings where dwarves sit in silence beside the statues of their gods, listening, feeling, becoming still. In times of joy, they light sacred fires and offer gold to Helsvog. In times of grief, they return to the rock, whispering the names of the lost into hollow stones sealed in the walls, believing that the gods will carry those names into eternity. And for those who die far from home, dwarves believe their spirits journey deep into the mountain's heart, led by Ura to rest beneath the oldest stone. Their bodies may crumble, but their names are eternal. For the dwarves believe that names, like mountains, cannot be erased. Even now you may hear, if you listen closely, the low chant of a priest in the temple of Helsvog. His voice like wind moving through a cave, patient and steady. In this way the dwarves do not just live in the mountains, they live with them. They pray to the stone, and in turn the stone listens. Now sleep, heavy and warm like bedrock, settles over your thoughts. Let the gods of stone guard your dreams tonight, as they guard the dwarves always, silent, watching, enduring. In the quiet chambers of the mountain, dwarves do not rush. They are a people of patience and of ritual. Every act, no matter how small, can carry the weight of centuries if performed with intention. Whether it is the lighting of a forge or the sharing of a simple meal, dwarves honor their ancestors and their gods through careful tradition. Rituals give shape to their lives, a steady rhythm beneath the stone. Let us wander slowly through some of the most sacred. Each morning, before the anvils sing, before hammer touches steel, the dwarves light the forge fires with a ritual older than memory. It begins in silence. A priest or elder smith places a coal, kept burning through the night, into the heart of the forge. With a prayer to Kilf, god of fire and creation, they feed the flame with fine oiled kindling, carved from roots gathered at high mountain passes. Then comes the chant, low, gravelly, and warm. It is not loud nor hurried, a call to fire, to passion, to transformation. Only when the flames rise and the coals glow golden red may work begin. To rush this ritual is unthinkable. To forget it is dishonor. For the dwarves believe that the strength of a blade lies not just in its metal, but in the soul with which it is forged. When a dwarf child is born, their name is not given immediately. Instead, they are observed for days, sometimes weeks, by clan elders and the family smiths who watch for signs. A name to a dwarf is not mere sound. It must fit the soul. It must endure. Once chosen, the child's name is carved into a small tablet of stone, polished and engraved with runes. That stone is placed in the family vault, joining the long line of ancestors, a chain unbroken. Then, on the day of naming, the child is anointed with warm mineral oil from the sacred springs deep beneath Vardendur, and their name is spoken aloud 3 times, once by parent, once by priest, and once by stone, as it echoes softly across the chamber. So begins a life grounded in heritage. Marriage, among the dwarves, is not just a union of hearts, but of stone. In a ritual called stone binding, the 2 dwarves carve small figurines of each other from matching pieces of granite or obsidian. These figures are placed upon a shared altar and sealed beneath molten wax mixed with silver dust, symbolizing their bond. Then, hand in hand, they walk a circle of sacred stone 7 times, each round representing one of the great elements: earth, fire, water, metal, air, time, and memory. There is no shouting, no feast, just candlelight, quiet music, and promises spoken in the ancient language, never to be broken. It is a union as unyielding as the stone that cradles their world. When a dwarf dies, Their body is not burned nor buried in soil. Instead, they are returned to the mountain. With songs and solemn procession, the body is washed in spring water, anointed with oils and powdered crystal, then wrapped in fine cloth etched with family runes. A tomb is carved, never by a stranger, but by kin, and lined with stone relics, tools, trinkets, and tokens from the dwarf's life. The final ritual is the laying of the voice. One by one, friends and family speak the name of the fallen. Each voice adds depth until the tomb is closed, and the name echoes in silence, locked forever in stone. And in the great archives, the dwarf's name is added to the eternal wall, their life woven into the living memory of their people. To be forgotten is the only death a dwarf fears. Though the dwarves do not follow the sun as surface folk do, they mark the turning of the year through stone cycles, tied to the pulse of the mountain. Every cycle, they hold quiet celebrations. The Feast of Flame, when the forges are silenced for one night, and families gather to tell stories by firelight. The Day of the First Delving, honoring the mythical ancestor who first carved a home into the mountain. And the Echo Night, when all dwarves extinguish their lamps and sit in darkness, listening to the heartbeats of the earth, a reminder of what lies beneath all things: silence, depth, and endurance. And now, as we sit beside this ceremonial flame, let the warmth lull you into stillness. Let your thoughts settle like dust on ancient stone. The rituals of the dwarves are not flashy or loud. They are quiet promises, daily hymns to endurance, each one a thread in the vast tapestry of time. Sleep now, cradled in ritual and memory. The mountain breathes around you. The mountain is a realm of order. Its weight, its shape, its silence, all suggest stability, permanence, and law. And so it is with the politics of the dwarves. Measured, layered, patient as erosion. For these children of stone do not rush to judgment or grasp at power. They deliberate, slowly and surely, like water carving a canyon. At the heart of dwarven politics is a system as old as Farthendur itself, the Council of Clans. 13 clans, 13 voices, 13 wills, woven together like veins of ore through rock. Each clan, no matter its strength or size, holds one vote in the council, no more, no less. It is a sacred balance, a recognition that all clans are needed, that unity comes not from dominance, but from consensus. The council chamber lies deep beneath the city of Trondheim. It is circular, vast and domed, carved from a single seamless stone. Each clan sits in a crescent alcove, banners unfurled, rune-inscribed sceptres before them. When they speak, their voices echo not only in the chamber, but across generations. For every word is recorded by scribes and etched into crystal tablets stored in the archives. Each clan is led by a Grimsborith, a chief or elder whose word carries the weight of tradition. These leaders speak for their people, cast votes on their behalf, and hold responsibility not only for their clan's governance, but for its harmony with the others. Some Grimsborithen are warriors, others are philosophers, priests, or master artisans, but all are chosen through a blend of heritage, merit, and the slow current of clan politics. Among them, the king or queen of the dwarves is selected. Unlike in human lands, the dwarven monarch is not chosen by bloodline, but by council vote. When the throne is vacant, due to death, resignation, or disgrace, the 13 Grimsborithen gather in solemn session. Each may propose a candidate, though many cycles of debate often precede the naming of even a single name. The process is lengthy. Speeches are made, histories recited, ancestral deeds remembered. The candidate must not only be wise and strong, but acceptable to all, or nearly all, of the clans. Unanimity is rare but always sought. When chosen, the monarch is crowned not with a crown, but with a circlet of braided silver and jet, shaped to resemble interlocking mountain peaks. They swear their oath in the ancient language beneath the Hall of Roots, the oldest chamber in all of Trondheim, and kneel before the statue of Helsvåg, god of stone. Despite their careful order, dwarven politics are not without friction. Clans disagree, alliances shift like fault lines, and though rarely violent, such disagreements can last generations. Most famous, perhaps, is the long tension between the Aswelden Rak Anhuin, secretive and proud, and other clans such as Durgrimst Ingaitum, to which Auric belonged. These rivalries simmer beneath every vote, every negotiation, and sometimes flare into boycotts, walkouts, or whispered threats. But dwarves do not spill blood lightly. Even in times of tension, they value stability above pride. For the mountain remembers every fracture and every healing. Law, among the dwarves, is carved, literally, into the walls of their halls. Every major law is etched into the stone of accord, a towering slab in the centre of Trondheim. It is said that to lie in its presence is to dishonour not only the living, but every ancestor who shaped that stone. When disputes arise, they are settled by a tribunal of 3, one chosen by each party, and one neutral arbiter selected by the council. Punishments vary, but the most feared is exile. To be cast out from the mountain halls, forbidden from speaking one's clan name, and stripped of the right to work stone. It is a fate worse than death to many, and yet, for all their structure, dwarven politics are not cold. They are shaped by memory, by loyalty, by the long, slow shaping of time. No decision is made lightly, no word forgotten. To speak in council is to feel the weight of stone on your shoulders and the warmth of every ancestor's hand at your back. Now the torches dim in the council hall, the banners hang still, and in the quiet that follows debate, the mountain listens. Let your thoughts rest now, wrapped in the heavy calm of dwarven deliberation. The matters of governance may continue tomorrow. Tonight, there is only stillness. Among the dwarves, fame is not loud. It does not wear golden crowns or shout from high balconies. Instead, it lingers like the warmth of forge fire long after the embers have cooled. It lives in the curve of a carved archway, the strength of a bridge still standing after 100 winters, the echo of wise words spoken generations ago. And so, in their deep halls, the dwarves remember their greatest not with fanfare but with reverence. They carve their likenesses into stone. They speak their names at winter feasts, and they walk the same paths, touching the same walls, whispering thanks to those who shaped their world. Let us now speak, softly, of a few of these storied souls. Perhaps the most well-known dwarf to surface dwellers, Auric rose from the stone halls of Durgrimst Ingaitum to become Grimsborith, and eventually King of the Dwarves. Loyal to both his people and the dragon rider Eragon, Auric walked the delicate line between tradition and change. He was shaped not only by war, but by wisdom, forging alliances where none had existed, and lifting his people toward a new era of hope. With his broad brow and braided beard, Auric was both warrior and diplomat. He drank deeply with friends, argued fiercely in council, and stood unshaken through storm and shadow. In the minds of his people, he is remembered not only as a king, but as a bridge between mountain and sky. Corgan, the first delver, a name whispered like a prayer in the oldest chambers. Corgan, they say, was the dwarf who first lifted his pick and carved a home within the living rock of the Beor Mountains. It was he who taught the dwarves how to shape halls from stone, how to read the grain of granite, and how to listen for the song of the mountain. His tools are said to rest in a sealed vault beneath Trondheim, blessed by priests and guarded by silence. And once a cycle, dwarves gather for a ritual in his name, telling tales of his journey, lighting a single lamp in the darkness, and striking the stone floor 3 times with hammers bound in silver cloth. He is not just a founder, he is a beginning. Grimsborith Vermund, a controversial figure, led one of the more secretive and prideful clans, as Swelden Rak Anhuin, the weapons untouched by iron. His views were rigid, his alliances few, and his disdain for outsiders, especially elves and humans, well known. Yet his influence on dwarven politics was undeniable. He understood the old ways better than most, and wielded his knowledge like a blade. Though history has judged him harshly, the dwarves do not forget the complexity of legacy. Even Vermund, stern and unyielding, is remembered, not with affection, perhaps, but with clarity. He is a reminder that every mountain has shadows, and even the hardest stone may crack. In the quiet caverns beneath Trondheim lies the Hall of Echoes, where prayers rise like mist, and the stone sings faintly of the gods. Here once walked Garda Runun, the first woman to lead the priesthood of Helsvog. Her voice was soft, yet it stirred the hearts of thousands. She reformed many of the old rituals, opening them to all castes and clans, and brought new reverence to the daily devotions of dwarven life. It is said that when she spoke in prayer, the walls glowed faintly, as if the mountain itself listened. She died at great age, seated in quiet meditation, her hand resting upon a statue of Helsvog's open palm. Her likeness now watches over the Hall of Echoes, eyes closed, smile gentle, a figure of stone and stillness. Not all legendary dwarves wore crowns or robes. Funder, known fondly as the Fat, was a merchant, a brewer, and a teller of tales. He served on the council of clans with wit sharper than any blade, and was known to settle arguments not with anger, but with laughter, food, and strong mead. Though his belly shook when he laughed and his beard was always crumb-dusted, Fundor was beloved by all, even rival clans. He reminded the dwarves that joy too is sacred, that mirth and memory may dwell side by side, that not all greatness lies in swords or spells. Some of it is found in shared meals, warm hearths, and the stories passed down with a twinkle in the eye. And so, the line of legends stretches on, far beyond these few. Each dwarf, great or humble, is a thread in the tapestry, a spark in the deep, a name whispered in stone. Now, as the torches dim and the forges sleep, close your eyes and let the mountain cradle your thoughts. Let the echo of stories guide you to rest. You are not alone. The dwarves are near, their songs in the stone, their warmth in the dark. Sleep now, little listener. The mountain watches over you. Part 4. Urgals and Shades. In the shadowed corners of the land, far from polished cities and smooth-tongued diplomacy, live beings whose very names have stirred fear. Urgals, shades, creatures shaped not for comfort, but for power, mystery, and survival. But as the moon softens even the fiercest mountain peak in silver light, so too can we look gently upon these misunderstood forms and see the deeper truth beneath horn and flame. Towering and broad of shoulder, the Urgals are a race of horned beings, built for strength, but with minds sharp and complex. Their horns, sweeping back like twin blades from their skulls, are not merely for show. They serve as tools, as status symbols, even as parts of ritual combat. No two sets are alike, each curved and ridged with subtle beauty, a record of lineage and life. Beneath their thick skin lies a dense muscle structure, and within them, a stamina few humans can rival. They can run for hours, fight without pause, and recover with astonishing speed. But for all their might, Urgals are not mindless brutes. They age, they dream, they love. Their speech is guttural, filled with growls and consonant-heavy phrases, yet rich with metaphor. Their eyes, often gold or silver-flecked, hold keen intelligence, quick to spot danger, quicker still to recognize kindness. And then there are the cool, a rare subset of Urgals. The cool stand a head taller than the rest, some reaching heights over 8 feet. Their bones are denser, their reflexes sharper, and their endurance unmatched. They are not born of choice, but of fate, a mysterious twist in the womb, often seen as a gift from the spirits of the wild. The cool are warriors, yes, but also sages, scouts, and poets among their kind. Where they walk, the earth listens. If the Urgals are creatures of earth and sinew, then shades are something else entirely, beings of sorcery and shadow. A shade is born when a powerful sorcerer or sorceress is possessed by a spirit, or multiple spirits, too strong to resist. Once overtaken, the original mind is lost, and in its place blooms a new terrible thing. No longer man or woman, no longer mortal. A shade is a vessel, a prison, a weapon. Their eyes gleam crimson, lit from within. Their blood runs cold. Their voices echo with more than one mind. They do not tire. They do not age. And when they die, they do so violently, often taking their surroundings with them in a final, shattering release of the magic that binds them. Yet they are not truly a race. They do not breed. They do not build. They are accidents, aberrations, and unlike Urgals, who carry the dignity of an ancient people, shades are feared by all, even those who wield them. Still, there is a strange beauty in their form, in the way they move like smoke, in the haunting chill of their magic. They are reminders of the cost of power and the fragility of will. So lie back and rest your thoughts in the quiet space between understanding and awe. The Urgals are not monsters. The shades are not myths. They are part of Alagaësia's great tapestry. Threads of shadow, yes, but threads nonetheless. In the next part, we will drift into the stories the Urgals tell themselves, and the songs the land whispers when no one is listening. When the moon rises high over the spine, and the snow howls across the crags, the Urgals gather close to their fires. There, with bones hung from cords and horns polished from wear, they begin to speak, not in commands, not in battle cries, but in stories. These are not written in books or carved into stone. They are passed from tongue to tongue, sung and shouted and murmured, shaped anew with each telling, but always, always echoing the old truths. Let us now listen, softly, as their myths unfold. Long ago, they say, before even the dwarves dug their halls or dragons flew the skies, the world was cold and bare, a place of ice and stone. The gods walked it freely, shaping mountains with their hands and rivers with their breath. But the land was lonely, and so from the blackest stone and the red flame of the earth's heart, the gods shaped a creature to walk in balance with the land. Strong in body, deep in voice, and crowned with horns, that it might be feared and respected by all beasts. They named him Urg, the first of the horned people. He wrestled bears, he sang to the sky, he carved homes in cliffs, and drank the stars from mountain pools. When he died, his horns became the roots of the peaks, and his bones the ridges of the spine, and from his breath were born the Urgals. Thus, the Urgals see themselves not as children of darkness, but as kin to the mountain itself. The Urgals believe the mountains are alive, not only with birds and wolves, but with spirits. These spirits are old, some kind, some cruel, some merely curious. They live beneath the rock, in cracks and tunnels, watching the living pass above. It is said that to anger a mountain spirit is to invite bad luck, broken weapons, twisted ankles, vanished food. But to honor them brings good hunts, safe climbs, and warm dreams. When a child comes of age, they are taken to a high place alone, given only a stone and a horn. If they return, they bring with them a mountain name, a name the spirits whispered while the wind howled. This name is secret, known only to the child and the gods. It is never spoken aloud. The Urgals tell of the red-eyed ones, spirits of fire who twist the minds of the foolish. They say these spirits were once gods of another world, gods who grew greedy and mad and were cast out into the wind. When a sorcerer's mind cracks, the red-eyed ones slither in. To the Urgals, a shade is not just a possessed person. It is a curse, a warning, a punishment for those who seek too much power too fast. They tell of Shrak, a shaman who tried to pull the stars into his skull and was instead consumed, transformed into a red-eyed monster who burned his own kin and vanished into the wilds. Urgals fear shades more than most. They will not speak their true names. They do not fight them unless forced. Some even leave offerings, black stones, bloodroot, smoke from mountain pine, in hopes of warding away the gaze of the cursed ones. When the stars turn just so, two bright ones rise near each other in the north. The Urgals call them the horns of Urg. They say these are the eyes of the first horned one, watching over his people from beyond death. When the horns are bright, it means the people are strong. When one dims, it is a sign of war. When both vanish, as they did the night Galbatorix came, the people fall silent. Many Urgals pray to the horns, not with words, but by raising their own to the sky in quiet reverence, a tale told rarely and always in hushed tones. Once, long ago, a Kul was born during a red moon. He grew faster than others, stronger, quieter, but he did not speak, did not smile. And when he walked, fire sparked beneath his feet. He could hear things no one else could, voices in the rock, whispers in the fire. Fearing what he might become, his clan tried to bind him, but he broke free, walked into the mountains alone. Some say he still lives, older than any should be, speaking to spirits and tending to the bones of ancient beasts. Others say he became a shade, and that his silence was only waiting. These are the stories passed down through horn and breath. They are not written in runes. They are written in wind, in snow, in the rhythm of drums around the fire. And though the humans scoff and the elves dismiss, still the Urgals remember, and the mountains listen. Let your own breathing slow now, as if you were nestled beside one of their fires, the stories settling like soft snow in your thoughts. Not all who are strong are cruel, not all who burn are evil, and not all who wear horns are monsters. In the stories told by humans, the Urgals are beasts, brutal, mindless, born only for war, and the Shades, they are darkness made flesh, beyond hope, beyond reason. But like a mountain seen only through fog, these images are incomplete, distorted, shaped more by fear than truth. Tonight, in the hush between dreams, let us clear away that fog and see these beings not as monsters, but as part of the living tapestry of Alagaësia, flawed, powerful, and deeply, deeply real. To many outside their clans, the Urgals are known only as enemies, the brutal warriors who marched with Galbatorix, who took up arms against elves and men alike. But this is not the whole story. For centuries before the war, the Urgals lived in the high places, among cliffs and snows, where few others could thrive. They hunted elk, sang songs of stone, raised children beneath wide skies. They warred when they had to, but they also healed, loved, grieved. They have a culture, rich and oral, passed down in stories and songs, full of honor and rhythm and respect for strength not just of body, but of spirit. What others call savagery is often only difference, of tradition, of ceremony, of values shaped by wind and stone rather than court and coin. And yes, they joined Galbatorix's army, but few ask why. Many were coerced, others tricked. Still others believed it was the only way to preserve their people. When the war ended and Naswada offered peace, they accepted it with courage and humility. It takes strength to fight. It takes more to stop. The cool, towering and fierce are often assumed to be mindless weapons, berserkers with no heart, no dreams. But in truth, many cool are thinkers among their people. They walk softly, speak sparingly, and often serve as guardians of knowledge. Their size is not a symbol of rage. It is a burden of expectation, one they carry with quiet pride. In the battle songs, the cool are not praised for killing. They are praised for protecting. Ah, the Shades. Even among the wise, there is little mercy for them. Their names are spoken with dread, their presence feared as an omen of doom. And to be fair, they are dangerous. Once the spirits take hold, twisting a sorcerer's mind beyond return, they become beings of pure magic, driven by hunger and pain. But let us pause here. For once, there was a person, a man, a woman, a spellcaster, someone who perhaps sought knowledge, power, healing, someone who reached too far and fell. They are not born evil. They are made by ambition, by mistake, by possession. And inside even the darkest shade, there may still linger a whisper of who they were, a memory, a regret, a silent scream trapped behind those red, burning eyes. To fear them is wise, but to hate them, without knowing their story, is a sorrowful thing. Another root of misconception is language. The Urgals speak their own tongue, thick with consonants and rhythm, difficult for humans to mimic. Many took their silence in human courts as stupidity, but in truth, it was often restraint, observation, a patience born of long winters and harsh truths. They listen more than they speak, and when they do speak, it is with weight, with meaning, with the memory of generations behind each word. In the end, most misconceptions are born from distance, from seeing only one face of a people, one moment in a long history, Urgals at war, shades in fire, and nothing else. But behind those moments live thousands of lives, quiet ones, fierce ones, tender ones. There are Urgal healers, Urgal mothers, Urgal poets whose words have never reached human ears. There may even have been a shade who resisted, who fought the spirits within and lost, but tried all the same. We cannot know for sure. But in Alagaësia, as in all lands, truth is never only what is seen. So let us lie still now. Let these thoughts drift across your mind like slow-moving clouds, reshaping old images with gentler lines. The Urgals are not monsters. The shades are not shadows without story. They are part of this world, its sorrow, its song, its storm, and its silence. And they deserve to be understood. Part 5. Humans and the Weave of Magic. Long ago, when the stars still shimmered with secrets unspoken, the dragons and elves forged a bond to end a war, a pact of peace sealed by soul and scale. But it was not long before humans entered the story, not with force, but with wonder, with wide eyes and open hands, with hope. And so the dragon eggs began to hatch for them too. A new chapter began, one that would shape the very fate of Alagaësia. The dragon riders were no longer solely elven. The pulse of humanity, brief but bright, fragile but fierce, now beat within the order. And though humans had not been the first to ride, they would one day be among the last. When a human becomes a rider, the bond transforms them, not just in mind, but in flesh. Elven grace flows into their blood. Their limbs grow stronger, their senses keener. Wounds heal faster. Age slows to a gentle crawl. And yet, they do not become elves, nor remain fully human. They become something between. A bridge, a balance, a reminder that magic, when shared in trust, can reshape not only the world, but the self. For many humans, this transformation is overwhelming, but for those who endure it, it is said that they walk through life as though wrapped in sunlight and storm. They know the thoughts of dragons. They hear the secret songs of trees. They speak in the ancient language, and its words shape reality as surely as thought shapes dream. To most humans, magic is a thing of fear and reverence. It is taught only by a few, passed down in scrolls, whispered in corners of the great cities, or bartered for in dusty libraries. Elves breathe magic like air. Dwarves respect it. Urgals avoid it. But humans are tempted by it. They chase it, seek it, burn for it. For a human spellcaster, learning the ancient language is like touching fire. Beautiful, dangerous, and never entirely safe. Some, like the riders or the wise women of the spine, use it with care. Others, like Galbatorix or the shades, let it consume them. In this way, magic becomes a mirror, revealing who the human truly is beneath their skin. Power for them is not inherited. It is earned, fought for, or stolen. And because of this, they treat it not as a birthright, but as a burden. When the riders fell, when Galbatorix betrayed them and dragons died by the hundreds, the loss was keenest among the humans. Not because they had been the most powerful, but because they had hoped the most. Humans had seen the riders as salvation, as a ladder toward greatness. And when that ladder broke, many fell into despair, but not all. Some, like Brom, kept the old ways alive in silence. Others, like Eragon, rose from nothing, from farms, from dust, from sorrow, and took up the rider's mantle once more. This is perhaps the greatest gift of the human spirit. When all is broken, they still believe. What sets humans apart from the other races is not strength, not speed, not wisdom. It is urgency. Elves have centuries, dwarves, long lives, dragons, memory eternal. But humans live like flames in the dark, bright, brief, burning. They love harder, they fight sooner, they risk more, not in spite of their mortality, but because of it. And when they bond with a dragon, that urgency becomes clarity. They live every moment for something greater. Every heartbeat counts. It is said that dragons admire this most of all. For while a dragon may live 1,000 years, only a human could teach them what it means to live fully. So rest now, dear listener. Let the stories of the races drift together in your mind like river stones worn smooth with time. Dragons, elves, dwarves, Urgals, shades, and men. Each flawed, each shining, each part of the deep, rich dreamscape of Alagaësia. And as sleep takes hold, know that this world, full of fire and frost, wing and word, will wait for you always, just beyond the veil of dreaming, until we return again. And so, the fires fade. You've wandered the halls of dwarf kings and the glades of the elven woods, felt the wings of dragons pass overhead, heard the low drums of the Urgals, the broken echoes of shades, and walked beside the ever-restless humans, ever reaching for more. Though the story pauses here, the magic lingers. It stays with you, soft and warm, like a dragon's breath in winter. Alagaësia waits for you, always, in quiet moments, in starlit thoughts, and in the hush just before dreams take hold. May your rest be deep. May your dreams be wide as the spine, and may you wake with wonder still in your heart. Good night, rider, and may the stars watch over you.